Their heads usually resemble those of humans, although some have pointy ears like Yoda. Maybe some don't. Maybe some don't. Alrighty. Alright. They have 4 fingers on each of their hands, and most do not have tails. Most do not have tails!
Welcome back, explorers. I'm David, that's Wesley, and this is the Trailcast.
The weekly show that gets so far off track you have to stick around and see just where we end up. So, David, we don't use our tagline a lot. I should probably use it more often. But where are we going to... Well, maybe not where we're going to end up, but where are we going to start this week? Because I actually don't know, and I'm curious.
Yeah, so... I was supposed to find a Wikipedia article to kind of kick us off here.
Hold up. You said that like you said you didn't.
Well, I have several that I'm going to jump around to.
That's better. Can you give me a list so I can go ahead and start looking up some of these?
Okay,
or at least the start point.
So I was looking for something interesting to talk about legends-wise, but I kind of stumbled upon something that might be a little more interesting. There is a little bit of legends to it too, but there's a lot of canon stuff to it as well. But are you familiar with the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, Yoda?
I would say in passing, but I'm sure there's probably things in here that I'm not aware of. So,
and are you familiar with his species?
Oh, that is a even less known topic in my mind, and even in a lot of Star Wars fans' minds.
Which
so, I'm interested.
We will get into that because I do want to talk about kind of the whole Yoda species. It's not really a we don't know what they're called, so I don't have a name I can refer to them as. But the whole Yoda species, which just kind of going over what is in canon, with the species. So we only have 3 canon examples of whatever Yoda's species is. We have Yoda himself, Yaddle, and Grogu. And one thing I was thinking about with this that is kind of odd. So, of course, Yaddle dies during the events of the Phantom Menace, which takes place in 32 BBY. Okay? And the first season of The Mandalorian takes place in 9 ABY. And Grogu is around 50 years old. So, presumably during the events of the Phantom Menace, he would have been around 9. So, he could have been at the Jedi Temple even then. So, for such a rare species, having 3 examples of that species at the Jedi Temple at one time is kind of odd.
But, okay, and I'm not saying you're wrong in saying that, but, when we jump to legends, I feel like there are a couple more examples, one of which I think comes from the Old Republic video game, Knights of the Old
Republic. Yes, there is a one of Yoda's species in KOTOR.
So that being said, you would assume, and with having 3 examples in canon all being force sensitive, you would assume that they are probably highly force sensitive. With both Yaddle and Yoda being on the council, and Yoda being the Grand Master, and then obviously what we've seen of Grogu so far, with how he's only he's an infant in within the framing of that species, he's an infant, and he's still pretty powerful within the Force. So their species is probably pretty powerful, and I think it's only. I mean, you're right. It is kind of like, wow, there's 3 of them, but. Anyways.
Mm-hmm. And because I think there is I didn't see it in this Wikipedia article. Not saying it because I skimmed over these. I have not read them in depth yet.
They are long.
Yes, we can
Most
get to
articles
that.
are.
So, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Yoda, or do you want to go into the species?
We'll start with Papa Yoda, then we'll go to Mama Yaddle, and then we'll go to Baby Grogu.
I mean, technically, the timing does work out, but
Yoda over here talking about don't have no attachments, and then he's over here getting it on with Yaddle. I guess it doesn't have to be an attachment. I guess that. Yeah, anyways, we're gonna move off from that.
Yeah, let's
start off with the species, so we can get a general overview of what we know when it comes to Star Wars, canon or just Star Wars knowledge of the species, and then we can dive into Yoda a little bit. Is that a separate article you have pulled up for his species, or
yes,
what is it?
There's a separate Wikipedia article for Yoda species.
So what do I look up to get that?
Yoda's species.
Yoda's species. Well, call me an idiot, because I am.
Okay, so now I'm going to start reading off of the canon side of it because most of the articles on
humanoid.
Most of the Wikipedia articles have a canon and a legends section.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, for characters like Mara Jade, who's strictly legends, it's all legends. But for a lot of stuff that has canon and legend stuff, there's two versions of the article. So I'm going to start reading from the canon article.
Can I read this real quick? This is funny.
Okay, what did you find?
I looked up. All I looked up, and you might have come across this too. All I looked up was Yoda's species, right? Well, the first thing that comes up is it says midget humanoid, and it says Yoda's species comes from the planet Naboo. The name Yoda means one who knows much in the language of the native people of Naboo. His species is a midget humanoid, approximately 2 feet tall. Yoda's species have 4 fingers on each hand, no tails, and long ears. They also tend to speak in monotones. This is from some. It says, "What is Yoda? What species is Yoda?" Starship.com.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. Okay. I just found it funny that the first thing I looked up, it said midget humanoid. That was in bold print.
That sounds like ChatGPT wrote it too.
Probably.
That honestly sounds like ChatGPT wrote it. Also,
I don't know.
I can't help but notice. I'm looking at a picture of Yoda right here on this article. Uh-huh. Yoda has 3 fingers, not 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also, where do they get Naboo? Where do they get Naboo from?
Okay.
ChatGPT is on something. I don't know what Starship.com is, but all right.
Like I said, that article sounds like it was written by ChatGPT.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, David. I'll let you.
I'll start reading this. I'll read this first couple paragraphs here. Okay. The species to which the Jedi Grandmaster Yoda belonged was ancient and shrouded in mystery. Members of the species were rarely seen anywhere in the galaxy. The few members of the species seen in the galaxy were all Force-sensitive, and the species' homeworld and name were unknown. So,
midget humanoids. There we go. We have all the answers now. Come here if you want answers. The 4-fingered Yoda is a midget humanoid from Naboo.
So, this is all the examples of Force-sensitive.
Fourth finger.
But I do want to point out too, it says, the few members of the species seen in the galaxy were all Force-sensitive. It's just going off of Grogu, Yaddle, and Yoda.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but they're not wrong.
True.
You're not gonna. You're just gonna pass over my joke.
Okay.
You're annoying.
Okay, so we've got a section here called Biology and Appearance, and then there's another section called Society and Culture, which I do want to read. And then we might be able
that
to go
one's short.
That one was very short.
But no pun intended.
Let's start off with biology and appearance. The species included male and female genders. Members of the species were small in size, roughly comparable to a human child, with green skin, large ears, and large eyes,
Got that
and
backwards.
long pointed ears. Their 3-fingered hands ended in claws. One member of the species, Grogu, caught and devoured live amphibians whole. Is that amphibian? Yeah, amphibians
I
whole.
think you're right. Yeah.
While another member, Yoda, made root leaf stews. Their ears were expressive, curling and unfurling in accordance to their emotion. I do want to point out too, a lot of this stuff has those blue links.
Yeah.
Like, I have no
Mine are
idea what
green.
root leaf stew is, but it's got a blue link, so I could click that, and come up with some other Wikipedia article for root leaf
Root
stew.
leaf stew was a meal that the Jedi Master Yoda used to prepare during his years of self-imposed exile on Dagobah. It consisted of a mix of roots and swamp weed. Ooh. Anyways, Yoda getting. Anyways,
No, where are you going
that
with that?
was. There's a little red in Yoda's eye. All right. He's Christmas themed, red and green. All right. That was left to boil for 10 minutes and had a sour taste. Yoda notably prepared root leaf stew the evening that he met Luke Skywalker, who would then become his Jedi apprentice. According to Skywalker, the stew had the consistency of boiled brains. So how did Luke know what boiled brains tasted like?
The
Or
consistency
consisted
of.
yeah, okay. And it smelled and its smell reminded him of a garbage teapot in the hot season of Tatooine. Nevertheless, it did not taste as bad as it looked. When Skywalker stayed with the Ewoks of Bright Tree Village on Endor, he was served a dish of root leaf stew, which he found not quite as bad as one prepared by Yoda. There was or Orton Ellen vendor aboard the some spur orbiting market that sold root leaf stew when he visited there. Okay, yada yada yada. Okay, cool. So that's what it is. It's
Okay.
brain mush.
That had to have come from the novelization, just from the detail it goes into.
Yeah.
That had to have come from the novelizations, especially since it's on the canon page. Yeah. All right.
Anyways,
So,
continue.
the next paragraph is about their hair.
They have
Members
hair.
of the species were capable of growing thin hair, with shades varying from auburn to white, being documented. Females having longer and thicker hair than males. The species had a very long life expectancy, spanning for several centuries. Yoda lived nearly 1,000 years before dying of old age. Now, is the quote from Jedi or Return of the Jedi? Is that? I'm trying to remember. Did he say he had lived for 900 years, or did he say he had trained Jedi for nearly 900 years?
Well, both could be true. Like if
Yeah.
he lived to be like 960, I mean, Grogu's 50. But I think the line is like when 900 you reach, look so good you will not, or something like that.
Okay.
But is
Because
there another line? Is there another line in there?
Because I think he also makes a comment about like training Jedi for however many years, but
We're too lazy, so comment down below if you remember what the quote is.
yeah. Anyway, but
I'll make
also
this video
again,
short and we get a lot of comments.
again, I like how they're confidently saying that females grow thicker hair than males, when the only example of this
Hey,
we have is a middle-aged female, of the species, a very old male, and a very young male.
Yaddle had some luscious locks, you know.
Okay, but who's to say when Yoda was like 400, he didn't have like,
I mean, you're not wrong. I would be willing to bet that Yoda had some luscious locks when he was around 400.
he probably had an afro.
Probably. I mean, it was a time period. It was a style back then. I don't know.
Okay. Let's see. Where was I?
Also, I love how they go. Members of the species were capable of growing long hair. Yada yada yada. Okay, moving on from that. The species had a very long life expectancy. It was like, okay, we're gonna start off with hair. Now we're gonna get into their hair was long, their life was long. I mean, may the hair on your feet grow forever. What's the quote from Tolkien?
Dang, why can I not remember that exact quote? But I don't know what you're talking about.
That was a quote that the guy preaching or minister or whatever for our wedding used. Sarah's pastor, he's a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and so he used that quote during our. It's on the video somewhere. I've never watched it, but
all right.
Moving on.
They ate and they Yoda species aged very slowly, remaining in infancy for at least 50 standard years. Again,
Grogu.
It's saying things very confidently, even though we have very little information to.
Well, that being said, I mean, they got to take the evidence that they have. I mean, Grogu could be an anomaly one way or another, but I mean, we don't have any evidence otherwise. So but they could whatever. It's an article. Yeah. It's a wiki article. I don't care.
Even at this stage of life, certain force-sensitive individuals of the species could use force. Hold on, wait a minute. Earlier it said all examples were force-sensitive, and now it says certain force-sensitive individuals. Wouldn't that indicate that there are non-force-sensitive individuals in the species?
Maybe, but I feel like the point it's trying to get at is that they're force-sensitive, or they have abilities in the force at this age. Okay. But you're right, that's worded a little weird. Maybe not a little weird. It is worded in such a way you can take it that way.
Force-sensitive individuals of the species could use force powers such as telekinesis and force healing. They were also capable of complex thought processes and could understand speech and communicate via force at this age. Despite their slow aging for the first 5 decades of life, members of the species reached maturity by their 100th year, as exemplified by Jedi Master Yoda, who began training other Jedi when he was about 100 years old. Okay, so that must be from the quote that I'm thinking of in Return of the Jedi, is where they're coming to that. According to Yaddle, Yoda was considered to be middle-aged at 514.
Okay.
That's when he had his fro.
Yes. It was his midlife crisis.
Okay, yeah. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. He had an auburn fro.
Society and culture.
Well, this is short. I already said that. Dang it. I'm using my own jokes again. I'm copying myself from earlier. All right, Dave. Go ahead and read this. I'm going to cry in the corner.
Due to the rarity of the species in the wider galaxy, little is known about them, except that the species was ancient and shrouded in mystery. Members of the species were capable of speaking Galactic Basic Standard. That's English. Although Yoda often used a distinctive syntax. Well, I don't know. If the movies are dubbed in another language, and you've only ever seen it in that language, is Galactic Basic whatever that language is?
What would that language be? Oh, wait, no, sorry.
No,
I'm stupid.
no, I'm
I
saying okay,
understand
okay,
what you're saying now.
okay. Let's say
If
like if
someone
you've
in go ahead.
like yeah, if you've only ever seen the movies dubbed in Spanish, wouldn't Galactic Basic just be Spanish to you? I mean, they were originally made in English, so technically that's why I said it's English. But
I don't know. I speak English,
anyway,
and I'm. That's all I'm gonna get.
anyway, so there is on this page there is a section for Yoda, Yaddle, and Din Grogu. But then there's also some more. There's like a big behind the scenes section. There's one section that says Yoda's species in the galaxy, but it pretty much just repeats stuff that's I've already read through.
Well, even that society and culture repeated some things that you've already said. So
True. Let me scroll through the legends side just to see if there's anything else that might be interesting to look at.
Oh, copyright. Let's see. Did they talk about the other?
Yeah, I'd seen on
Ooh,
here
there's a
earlier
cool
there were at least links to other examples of Yoda's species. Um see if you will load. Okay. Okay, I'll just read this kind of introduction paragraph on this one just to see if it's any different. The Jedi Master Yoda was the best known member of a species whose true name is not recorded, known to some sources simply as Yoda's species. This species were of small carnivorous humanoids, produced several well-known members of the Jedi Order during the time of the Galactic Republic. So this says carnivorous, which Grogu is, but it said earlier in the actual canon one that Yoda ate, what was it? Root leaf stew or whatever?
Well, David, you and I both can agree a steak is amazing, but it's not like we don't eat salad.
True.
Although that'd be an omnivore, not a carnivore. But don't get on my case.
Okay, yes, there is a list of known members. So, of course, you got Yoda, Yaddle. Grogu is not on here. Um, let's see.
Would he
Vandar,
technically be a part of a
Jakar.
Legends?
That's true.
Because you
He
think
was
about it,
he was Disney, so I don't know if he's in anything that's Legends.
I wouldn't think Disney Star Wars of any kind would be anything Legends, because Legends would just be everything outside of the original six that was made before Disney Star Wars. Because, right? I think I'm right in saying that.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right,
yeah,
let's
he
see.
would be part of
So
that.
so of these that are not canon, there's Vandar Takar, Oteg, and the description under Oteg is a Jedi Master who served during the Cold War. That's all it gives. That's the only description it gives. I don't know what the
Cold
Cold War
War.
is.
Well, I'm gonna click on it and we're gonna find out. I've looked at a lot of wars in Star Wars. I don't know what the Cold War was.
I mean, I know what the actual Cold War was, but I don't know what the.
Yeah. Okay, so to read through this introductory thing real quick. Uh wait, where'd it go? Oh, there. The Cold War was an intense 11-year galactic geopolitical tension between the Galactic Republic and the Sith Empire and their respective allies after 3653 BBY. The Treaty of Coruscant ended the Great Galactic War, sealing the Sith Empire's partial victory and its ex- and whatever that word is of why is English? All right, it's of almost 2/3 of the known galaxy. They conquered almost 2/3 of the galaxy. Peace was gained, but tensions between the Empire and the Republic remained high, especially as the Empire began sieging more planets in the core world. In the 10 years after the war, fear and uncertainty gripped the galaxy. Border Border skirmishes and proxy wars between the Empire and Republic erupted, and the uneasy truce between the two foes appeared to be on the verge of collapse, as it finally did in 3642 BBY. The 11-year period during the Cold War took place. 11-year period during which the Cold War took place was perhaps one of the most significant points in galactic history, and we don't know about it. Uh, partially for
Do you have
that
like
of
an
the
ad or
Sith.
something playing on yours? Because I keep hearing something. I'm not sure if it's on mine or on yours.
Did it stop?
No.
Okay, then it's on yours.
Where?
Because I did have one playing, but I didn't hear it. Anyways, as a result of the immense power that they held during the Cold War, this was well regarded as having been the time in which the Sith were at their mightiest. So it's after the I guess the Cold War then takes place after those clips that we talked about a couple weeks ago with the Old Republic games where
Hmm.
Darth Malgus or whatever storms the Jedi Temple and they take Coruscant. I guess it takes place after that war, um,
Okay.
in which tensions are high. All that to say, that's who that guy is.
Hmm. Well, there's not really a whole lot in the legends part of this beyond what was already in the canon part. So why don't we go ahead and jump over to either Yoda or Yaddle? Because I feel like they're I don't know. Yoda's gonna have a lot more. So you want to jump to Yoda or Yaddle?
Let's go ahead and do Yaddle. I have some things to say about her.
Okay. All right. There's a lot here.
Hmm.
I'm guessing there were some because this is also the canon thing. I'm guessing, and just from some of the pictures they're using here, I'm guessing that there were some comics with Yaddle
Mm-hmm.
that are considered canon now. All right. So Yaddle, also known as the One Below, don't know what that means, was a renowned Jedi Master who went on to serve the Jedi High Council for over a century before her death in 26 BBY during a peacekeeping mission on or to Moan. That is incorrect. This is supposed
Wait,
to be
what did it say?
canon.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Oh wait, is this? Wait, was I reading
I was
canon
not.
or was I reading the legends? Hold up.
I don't know, but what'd you say?
Oh no, that was that was the legends one. That's why. Okay. No, it was it got the death wrong. It was her death from one of the comics, which was
Well, I have a big problem with her death in canon,
okay. Well, we can get to that.
which is what I have to get to. But anyways,
Well, let me read this introduction on the actual canon side, and then we'll talk about that. Okay. So now I'm actually reading the canon one. So, Yaddle was a Force-sensitive female being of the same species as Grandmaster Yoda and Din Grogu. She was a Jedi Master who was in charge of Jedi initiates during the High Republic era. During this period, in 382 BBY, Yaddle and an initiate she was tutoring at the time named Chippa Tarko fought against the Path of the Open Hand, a cult that was hateful of the Jedi and any who used the Force. In the devastating battle on Dalna, known as the Night of Sorrow. Okay.
Intriguing.
Uh, during the last years of the Galactic Republic, Yaddle was a member of the Jedi High Council. She trained a Vespasian Padawan, Oppo Rancis. I don't know.
An open racist. An open racist.
Who eventually joined Yaddle on the High Council by the time of the invasion of Naboo in 32 BBY. That year, Qui-Gon Jinn brought the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, where he met Yaddle and the Jedi Elders. Following the Battle of Naboo, Yaddle pursued fellow Jedi Master Dooku after observing suspicious behavior on his part. She ended up encountering the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious, who ordered the Jedi Master to kill his colleague. Yaddle was subsequently defeated and killed by Dooku, the final step on his path to the dark side of the Force. I feel like that's a good place to actually talk about her death.
Yeah. I liked Tales of the Jedi. It was a good watch. I enjoyed it. My internet's low, so I'm probably cutting it out, aren't I?
You're fine.
Wait, say that again?
I said you're fine.
Okay. You weren't coming through, so I thought I wasn't coming through. Anyways, so I liked watching through Tales of the Jedi. It was a good watch. But when I got to that episode, I had problems with it. I actually, even like a couple days before that, had just listened to the Legends version of how Yaddle died. So it was kind of fresh in my mind. And it just didn't sit well with me because for multiple reasons. It all has to do with Dooku. But Dooku, okay, I understand the so we talked about this when we talked about I think okay, I've been looking through our backlog of stuff recently. And I think it was when we were talking about Revenge of the Sith with Dooku and how you like when you're talking about it, and I agree with this, but you like the 2D version of General Grievous. Better than the way that they show him in the Clone Wars, which is as a general, more so like as an actual like
and even
body
as and even more than the way they portrayed him in Revenge of the Sith too.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm getting at with this is like, so he's more of what's supposed to be that monster, right? But Dooku is a politician. Dooku is a negotiator. He is a good duelist, obviously. I mean, he's the best, but he doesn't resort to violence starting out. I mean, that's like the way he was within the Force. There's a reason that he didn't have, and I don't, I'm not going to because I don't have the knowledge on top of my head. But there's a reason why he didn't have the Sith yellow eyes like most. He didn't tap into the Force the same way he did. So, anyways, I don't feel like at this point in time, this is in just after the events of Phantom Menace. I don't think at this point in time Dooku is this far gone. So him killing Yaddle doesn't make sense to me. Also, it's what a 10-year gap between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones? Because Anakin's 19,
Yeah. Yeah.
something like that.
Around
In
10
10
years.
years, in 10 years, they don't figure out who killed Yaddle. Even if they don't, there's so many loose threads with Dooku killing Yaddle. And I'm sure I understand the Sith Palpatine has his many methods. It's not like it's completely impossible. But for them, like the way that Dooku left to begin with, like Dooku didn't just simply resign from the Jedi Council. He resigned to be the Count of Serena. Right? That's the right planet, right?
Yes.
I believe so.
Yeah.
He resigned because he was going to be the Count. And he did that before he actually became the Count Dooku that we all know, Darth Tyrannus. He didn't go from the Jedi straight to being part of the Sith. So there's a gap in there that they just flushed in. They took that gap out and just made it where he turns to the dark side immediately. He kills Yaddle, and no consequences whatsoever. Episode 2 happens the same way. I don't think that if he kills Yaddle at that point in time, that there's going to be the events are going to play out the same way. There would be an investigation into Yaddle's death, or at least her disappearance. And with her being such a high level master, they would be. I mean, they'd have to see some kind of foul play. And I don't think at this point in time, if Dooku did that he would just go then to Yoda and say, I'm resigning from the Jedi Council to go be the Count. There's steps in here that just don't seem to make sense to me. It's my opinion. I still liked the episode. I just didn't like the implications or the like the fight was fun to watch. The episode was fun to watch, but I don't like it as canon. I think her death, which I'm gonna read the legends portion of her death here. I like this a lot better, and it seems to make more sense for her to just be off screen, or for her to die and it to be, still notable, but like it still makes sense. So this says in 26 BBY, Yaddle was sent to Manwan along with Obi-Wan Kenobi and his Padawan Anakin Skywalker. Their mission was to try to restore peace to the lawless planet. However, Yaddle sacrificed her life for those of the people of Manwan. By using the Force to absorb a bioweapon released by Grant Omega, which killed her instantly. By doing so, she saved the city of Natana. Yaddle was 483 years old at the time of her death. Yaddle was the last Jedi Council member to die before the Clone Wars, with her place being filled by Shakti. But the character of Yaddle, it makes more sense for her death. I mean, okay, I'm not saying that like she didn't die a noble death in what is now considered canon with her dying to Dooku, because she was trying to help a friend and she died in the process. Same here in Legends, where she died helping others, which is, from everything that I've seen and read and heard about the character, that's kind of how she was. She wanted to help others, and that's how she saw her place in the galaxy, was helping others, and that's what she was doing, trying to help Dooku. But I just don't like. There's so many loose ends that I feel like that episode leaves that are never addressed, and I have problems with those.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I mean, like you said, like I like Tales of the Jedi, and I like that they actually did give a canon ending to, or a canon explanation for Yaddle's disappearance, but between episode 1 and 2. But at the same time, I do kind of agree. Like they could have done a lot more with that character, and
I also
yeah, I
feel
don't.
like the way that they went about doing it. Here I go dogging on Disney Star Wars again. The way they went about doing it though was like, hey, we need an explanation. We need a canon explanation. Oh, hey, let's make it where it fits in with some other characters that everyone knows. And that was about all the thought that was put into it. You know, they wanted to link it to the other characters, so they linked it to Dooku, and they wanted to have a canon explanation for it
Mm,
without pulling from Legends. And so they came up with this. I'm not saying that's all the thought that went into it. I'm saying that's kind of how it feels because that's like I said, Sidious could probably very easily, with the strings and power and pull that he had, could very easily take a death of Yaddle, even the high grand on the council member that she was, and could probably still sweep that underneath the rug where it didn't matter. But it's just like it seems like she's too big of a character and too prominent of a position for it to be swept under the rug. You
I mean,
know,
like okay,
who's
like
gonna
in
kill? Who's
okay,
gonna kill someone of that level?
like okay, in Clone Wars, we see like okay, let's use the death of Fives as an example. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the circumstances involving that were covered up, but Fives was just a clone.
Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna, as bad as that is, as bad as that sounds, who's gonna care about a clone?
Yeah.
But
The
when it's a member of the Jedi Council, yeah, I do see what you're saying there.
If you or I were missing, we would have there would be search parties, there would be investigations, there would be stuff like that, right? If the president of the United States went missing, or someone in a position like that, how many more times would that be investigated and searched
Hmm.
and involved with? It's the kind of that level.
Yeah,
I understand you understand the concept, and I understand probably someone listening to this understands the concept. But I like saying things and repeating things because sometimes I need a refresh
because
refresher.
sometimes you don't
I need
understand the
to under-
concept.
Sometimes I need to understand the concept. All right, people. I'm a little slow, a little stupid over here. I grew
All
up with
right.
this idiot, so you know
Well, I grew up with that idiot, so yeah.
the Mandalorian. You grew up with the Mandalorian? Dang,
No, no,
that's pretty
I
cool.
said that idiot.
I saw that. I saw the thumbs pointing behind you, and you have the Mandalorian poster behind you.
No,
So,
I was gesturing to where I'm looking at you on my screen.
no, I think you're pointing at the Mandalorian. Now the Mandalorian's gonna come kill you. But I guess since you're childhood friends, he may just be some fun banter that you have back and forth. Bantha? Some fun bantha back and forth? I misspoke, but it's hey. Anyways, David, get me out of this.
Right. So we've actually been talking about this for for a good long time, and staying pretty
Oh, we've been
consistent
talking.
on the topic. So
Well, I think this just evidences how whenever you prep a video, we stay on topic. Whenever I prep a video, I don't prep a video.
so what we need to do is come up with some just off the wall theories about Yoda's species.
Oh, I already told you. So my off the wall theory for all this is it's Papa Yoda, Mama Yaddle, Baby Grogu. So if
I
if
mean,
Yoda's middle age at 500 something, right? Then he's in prime time. So well, he wouldn't have been. How old would he have been in if he's 900 at the end of the
probably about 850 years old.
yeah.
845.
Hey, I mean, you've seen it all the time, these old men, and I mean, Yaddle wasn't that old. She was only 400 or 500 on that, or four. It said 400 at the time of her death.
I mean, okay.
So I mean,
Also, technically, well, I don't know if this
she
is
would have been the
technically.
prime.
I don't know if this is technically canon, but technically there are instances where Jedi were allowed to get married and have kids, like with um Caddy Mundi, because his species was so rare that the Jedi Council allowed him to actually have children, because just spread the gene pool.
So
So
Yoda
it's
species
possible.
very. Well, why not just to have the most powerful species thingy in the world, right? So I think we're onto something.
Now the real question is,
Yoda,
hmm?
wifey Yaddle, babe.
Gosh,
You know, and that I think they come from Naboo, and they have 4 fingers, and they're midget humanoids.
hold up. I want to try something.
You're gonna look up what ChatGPT has to say about Yoda.
I'm gonna
I
ask
I now
ChatGPT.
I'm gonna go to that article. I'm gonna find that article. Put that right there. Okay. Comes up. Right. I want to read the rest of this article. I want to see because I have any. Okay. While you're asking ChatGPT, I'm gonna read this article. While Yoda has only ever seen on screen twice. Oh, while Yoda in episode 4 and 5.
That's not
What?
right.
Just so we're on the same page. Roman numeral wise, 4 is the 5 with the I behind it, right? And then 6 is with
Yeah,
it in front. Okay, so yeah,
I think
it
so.
says episode 4 and 5. Well, I'm also just going with the order of it. It has that first, and then it has 5 after. So, well, this article is on some crack. All right. Well, he was only ever seen twice. We're not going to include the prequels. In episode 4 and 5, he has become an iconic character in the franchise. All right. He is known for his wisdom, humor, ability to communicate telepathically, and ability to perform feats of strength and magic. Ooh. Yoda's species comes from the planet Naboo. The name Yoda means one who knows much in the language of the native people of Naboo. His species is a midget humanoid, approximately 2 feet tall. Yoda's species has 4 fingers on each hand, no tails, and long ears. Uh, they also tend to speak in monotones, which this article will discuss Yoda and what type of species he is. Okay, cool. Good way to. I don't want to. No, I don't want to subscribe. Go away. Who is Yoda in Star Wars? The first time we see Yoda is in Star Wars: A New Hope. He is sitting on top of a rock formation, looking at Luke Skywalker as he trains with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh my god, this is great! I want to see this. After watching him train, Yoda tells Luke that he must learn how to use the Force, or it will be lost forever. In Return of the Jedi, Yoda appears again when Luke confronts Darth Vader. During the scene, Yoda uses his mind powers to make Vader think that he is talking to himself. And then Vader asks if Luke is his son. Yoda replies, he does not know. In The Empire Strikes Back, Yoda makes another appearance. Oh, jumping all around. He makes another appearance during the climactic battle between Han Solo and. Wait, the climactic battle between Han Solo and General Leia Organa. Oh my! As the rebels attempt to destroy the Death Star, Yoda watches over them all. When the Death Star explodes, Yoda disappears into the clouds.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
what is what is the species that Yoda belongs to? Asking the same question in 4 different ways. This is definitely our channel. All right. Yoda's species is a race of creatures from Naboo. There are many different types of these creatures, but they share certain characteristics. One thing they all have in common is their small stature. Members of Yoda's species are very can vary greatly in size, but mostly average about 2 feet tall. Their heads usually resemble those of humans, although some have pointy ears like Yoda. Meaning some don't. Meaning some don't. Alrighty. Alright. They have 4 fingers on each of their hands, and most do not have tails. Most do not have tails. Alrighty. Some have hair, while others don't. Interesting. Mem- members members of Yoda's species are very wise creatures. For they live for thousands of years, so they have plenty of time to study the universe around them. They have learned many things throughout history, including the secrets of the Force. This article is only halfway over.
Uh,
How do Yoda species communicate? They communicate through telepath. They can
telepathy?
hear that's what it says. Anyways, this article is dulling my brain. Communicate to telepathy. They can hear everything that other beings say, even though they cannot physically hear sound.
Then what are the ears for?
They're so big. They take in so much sound. All right. This is because the species has developed unique physical abilities. They can read minds by using these abilities. They can sense emotion, thoughts, and feelings. They can tell what someone wants before they ask it. They I feel like I'm reading this and this is like from a third grader. They can have great intuition. They
Oh.
can often predict events and understand situations better than anyone else. Probably has to do with the wisdom. All right. How can they use the force? Yoda's species uses the power of the force to accomplish many amazing. Hush. The force to accomplish amazing feats. They use it to move objects, heal wounds, and control the environment around them. When they want to use the force, they focus their attention inward. Was that it? Oh no, we got more. They close their eyes and concentrate on the energy within themselves. Then they release it outwards. For example,
Um.
Yoda could use the force to levitate an object above his head. He would simply close his eyes and imagine it lifting. Or imagine lifting the object. Once he has imagined doing this, he would open his eyes and let it go. How does Yoda heal wounds? Oh, pray tell. Yoda can heal people who are injured by touching them. This is done through touch alone. It To perform this feat, Yoda would place his hand on the person's wound. He would then use his mind to send healing energy to the area. Afterward, he would remove his hand and the wound would be healed. Why is Yoda so wise? The answer to this question is simple. Yoda is really smart. He was born with incredible wisdom and knowledge. His parents were both Wait a minute.
Wait,
Wait a
what?
minute. Wait a minute. His parents were both scientists on the planet Naboo. As a result, Yoda grew up surrounded by books and learning. He spent much of his childhood studying the ways of the galaxy and mastering the Force. He became one of the wisest Jedi Masters ever known. Many people think that Yoda is the only Jedi Master who has lived for more than 1,000 years. What is what is Yoda's personality like? Yoda's uh species members are kind-hearted and gentle creatures. They love peace and harmony. They are always looking out for others. Because of their kindness, they make good friends and pets sometimes. No, it doesn't say that. That's the way it sounds. Anyways, they enjoy spending time with people. They will they will help you if you need it. They are very compassionate. They care deeply about all living things and respect life in every way. This is almost over. How do Yoda and Luke know each other? Luke Skywalker and Yoda first met when they were Luke Skywalker and Yoda first met when they were children. Luke was just a young boy at the time. Well, one of those is right. He was searching for the answers of how to defeat Darth Vader. Luke asked Yoda for advice. In Return of the Jedi, Luke meets Yoda again. He asks Yoda for help in defeating Emperor Palpatine. Yoda tells Luke that he must seek out Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan taught Luke everything. Obi-Wan taught Luke everything he knows about the Force. When Luke completes his quest, he returns to Yoda and defeats Vader. What about Yoda and Leia? Leia Organa and Yoda first met during A New Hope. She is trying to find her brother Luke. She comes across Yoda in the Mos Eisley Cantina. Yoda tells her that she should look for Obi-Wan Kenobi instead. Later, after meeting Han Solo, Leia goes back to Yoda. She wants to know where she can find Obi-Wan. Yoda tells her to ask Chewbacca. Chewbacca takes her to Obi-Wan. then, then Leia finally finds Luke. She brings him to Yoda, and Yoda helps Luke defeat Darth Vader. Okay, one little thing more. What does Yoda look like in Star Wars? Yoda looks like a little green alien. He is short and round. His body is covered in fur. His body is covered in fur. What? Alrighty. Like hairs like humans, but no. Alright, whatever. His face is wrinkled and his green. His skin is grayish blue. He's a little green alien. His skin is grayish blue. What? Yoda wears robes made of clothes. He also wears sand. He also wears sandals.
Robes made of clothes.
Oh, it says cloth. My bad. I can't.
Oh.
This thing is killing my brain. All right. Don't even act like that wouldn't be something this thing would say though. All right.
No,
Yoda is an amazing character in the Star Wars universe. He is wise beyond words. He teaches people about the Force. The Yoda species are midget humanoids and they live on Naboo, yada yada yada. All right. Why is there a screen? All right, I'm going to do this later. There's a what's this? I know this channel. One second. Uh Suspense Wave. That's a Star Wars channel. Why is that linked in this video? I don't think it would have said any of this stuff. Okay, I'm probably going to make a bunch of shorts about this because it's funny. So, as a precursor, what I'm about to read is from an article on starship.com. It makes no sense.
what kind of like alternate universe Star Wars did they want? Okay, hold up. See if you can find an author name on this article, because I swear if cocaine is not credited as a co-writer, I
All
don't
right.
know what
All
they
right.
were smoking. But like,
So under the resources tab here, it says about us, contact, press kit, terms and condition, privacy policy, and sitemap. That's under resources. Now, I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Wait, no. Brad Bernian, author. This guy is the founder of Starship.com. He loves all video game genres. In his spare time, he loves reading, watching movies, and playing games. Well, he forgot to watch Star Wars if he wrote this article. That's all it says, though. So he's the
you know
creator of
what?
Starship.com.
You know what this reminds me of? Okay, this is like if someone like you know those that sitcom trope of like there's one person who's like a big fan of a certain movie, and then this other person is trying to get closer to the person who's a big fan, so they pretend like they know a lot about the movie and they get a bunch of stuff wrong. It's
Yeah.
like someone wrote an article about Star Wars based off an episode of a sitcom about Star Wars with that kind of a premise.
It's like me and Sarah have been watching a lot of Captain Sauce recently, and he's big into like Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that. Like he mentions it here and there, but like he shows that he's big into those nerd genres or whatever.
Mm.
And sometimes he'll mash them together, you know, and he's doing it as a joke. That wasn't a joke. That better have been a joke. I don't know. They're gonna mislead it. That's the first result that came up when I looked up Yoda's species. Wikipedia was below it.
Oh,
David, after that mind numbing, brain melting mush. Yeah, see, I don't even know where I'm going with this. After that, what do you have left to say about Yoda?
I don't know that I have much else to say about Yoda. That I definitely don't have anything that can top that.
I don't know if we can ever top that. I think I'm gonna start looking up things on Starship.com now. It's the only place I'm gonna get my it's the only place I'm gonna get my information from now.
We need to see if they have any more Star Wars articles.
Oh,
Ugh.
so yeah, that's definitely gonna come back up if they have more. Ooh, home. There's a search bar. All right. Real quick, I'm gonna look this up. I was suggesting us to go over to a they have a bunch more Star Wars stuff. Yeah. So if you've enjoyed this up until this point, and if you've stuck through the reading of this, like this video and comment down below if you'd be interested in us reading more from Starship.com. We're probably going to do it anyways because we find it hilarious. But let us know if it made you laugh. If it didn't, why are you watching this? Okay. So, David, if you don't have anything else left to say about Yoda, I know I don't. You want to head over to what's new with you?
Let's do that.
What's new? What's new with you? What's new? What's new with you? What's new? What's new with you? Yeah!
Yeah.
I know it's been such an incredibly long time since we've talked, David. What's new with you? Yeah, but I think, well, let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 days.
4 days. Cool.
So, what's new with you? What have you done?
School, work.
Lame.
What have you done?
I have actually done something. Have you watched the Doctor Who specials?
You talking about the new ones?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
I don't think it's worth. Okay, well, the 60th isn't as big as the 50th because, but I mean, but since it's a special, it doesn't really seem that special. But they're pretty good. I won't give any spoilers away.
That's the one where they brought back David Tennant, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on Disney Plus. I mean, don't like go out of your way to watch it, but I would say that it's a good watch if you have something and you're free and you want to watch that. I would watch it. It's pretty good. But it's interesting. They I'm not up to date on my Doctor Who lore because I haven't watched any since Matt Smith. So
Mhm.
I am out of it. And there's things in this that aren't necessarily old Doctor Who lore, but are things that happened in between that I don't necessarily know. So there are certain things in it that were kind of confusing. And so if I was supposed to go in depth on this, which is good that you haven't watched it because I don't know depth. But to be spoiler free, it was good. David Tennant's obviously really good at playing the Doctor. I like David Tennant in really anything
Mm.
that he's in.
Which
And they do so they have 3 specials with David Tennant, and then they have 1 special with the new Doctor. And all I'm going to say about that is I don't hate it. I think he embodies the Doctor well. I think he does a good job with it. The new companion, she's she seems like she'll do a really good job in the role. And you know, it's something that like me and Sarah were talking about. It's like I wouldn't ever say that this is better than what we both watched Doctor Who wise.
the
With Matt
OG
Smith and David
reboot
Tennant.
Doctor Who.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But but it's but it's still good. And I think it's something
Mhm.
that if Disney does put up the stuff to watch it, I might end up checking it out. Because I think he did a good job. It's definitely different, and there's definitely things in it that are like I don't know. I do think it feels like Doctor Who, but it feels so very detached still. But
Mhm. Which
all I have to say, I'd check it out if I were you. If not, you don't really have to. I was just it's a
which
suggestion.
speaking of Doctor Who, it is kind of fun because I just recently actually watched the first couple episodes of the reboot, you know, series. These are the Christopher Eccleston episodes, and I'm probably gonna keep watching those through.
What do you have them on?
DVD. We're just
Oh,
watching through the DVDs.
this is completely unrelated, but I am watching my cat throw pretty much handfuls of litter out of the litter box. She's digging around in it and she's like just throwing them out. So now I'm gonna have to go clean that up after I get done with this. Cats are so annoying. They're not as low maintenance as I thought they would be. Anyways, I don't have to take her out
Ooh,
every day, but
so
she's stupid. But continue.
now I have not finished the episode, but um last week Sam Witwer was on Katie Sackhoff's podcast,
Hmm.
which I didn't even realize Katie Sackhoff had a podcast.
Who is that?
Bo-Katan.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't even realize she had a podcast, but yeah, Sam Witwer was on that podcast, and it's kind of interesting. Like I said, I need to finish that podcast episode. I'm about halfway through it, but it's kind of interesting listening to two huge two huge Star Wars fans who also acted in, were in Star Wars talking about Star Wars.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, because
I think
Sam,
anything that has Sam Witwer on it is gonna be good.
because like he's not only the voice of Maul and Starkiller, he's a huge Star Wars nerd.
Mhm. It is always nice to see, um, how many people who do stuff in Star Wars, how Star Wars is like a huge part of like them, and they're huge fans of it, and like Sam Witwer is just it's pretty well gotten to the point where he's an icon within Star Wars. So obviously, I know him and him being a big fan. I didn't know Bo-Katan, the actress who played her, was a huge Star Wars fan. But that's always good to hear because if it's something that they love themselves, they're gonna
Mhm.
want to make something that's good, And most of the stuff that she's been in, like, okay, Mandalorian season 3 wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't bad. And so,
Mhm.
like, it's all, it's everything that she's been in has been good. And I'm not saying that she has had anything to do with it, but you can like if you and I were in those positions, even if we didn't like the way that something was going, we would make it the best we could. And I believe that
Which
she like Star Wars that much,
one
she's
one thing I
probably
do.
tried to do that.
Which one thing I do like about Sam Witwer, which he's a lot more like vocal about telling these kinds of stories, which so many other actors have probably done stuff like this. But one thing I do like about Sam Witwer is he is not afraid to go up to the director, producer, whoever, and just say, that doesn't fit with canon."
That's not how the Force works.
Exactly. Like he said. I actually just recently heard him talking about his. Was it on that podcast episode? I don't think so. I think it was on something else I heard him talking about this. But talking about his interview when he interviewed for the role of Starkiller for the first time,
hmm
or when he auditioned for the role of Starkiller for the first time, and it was a scene where Starkiller was meditating, and he said he didn't think he would get the part because at first because so when he was doing it he was like really when he was doing the meditation part he was like really tense and really like because it was like Starkiller was building his lightsaber using the Force
hmm
and Sam Witwer was like really tense like almost trying to force the pieces together when he was acting it and the director's just like why are you so tense when you're doing that and Sam Witwer was just like because Darkiller doesn't know how to meditate. He's a Sith. Why would he know how to meditate?
Yeah.
And then of course you've got the the clip that you see all the time of him talking about when he was working on Solo when he was talking to Ron Howard at the for the scene with Maul when he force pulls the lightsaber to him and Sam Witwer was just like, well, which lightsaber? And Ron Howard's like the one from Phantom Menace. He's like he doesn't have that lightsaber anymore. You have two options at this point. You can use the dark saber, which will set this and during at this point in the timeline, or you can do the Inquisitor lightsaber that he has in Rebels, which will mean that the Empire is hunting him and all this and that.
I I kind of hate when it comes to the character Darth Maul. So they brought him into Clone Wars because he was such a beloved character for his limited amount of time on screen in Phantom Menace. And they made his character what we know as him in the Clone Wars. And then they do stuff like, they set things up like they did in Solo with him being some guy behind the scenes with the big crime syndicates. And then they just kill him. I'm not saying I don't love the fight. I do. But then they just kill him off after a couple episodes within Rebels. And it's
Mhm.
like, what you could have done with this character and what you did with this character are miles apart.
I almost feel like killing him off at that point was almost like a big middle finger to George Lucas's pitch for the Star Wars sequels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, I do really like that fight, but I do agree they could have done so much more with him after uh, Revenge of the Sith, and
Yeah.
we still might get it, we might get more, but
knowing
there's
the end
yeah,
makes it just, like Darth Maul deserved to have the sequels the way
Mm,
George Lucas was originally thinking it. He deserved that because of the amount of love that he got as a character, and then like just the kind of character they was. He deserved to be a, maybe not completely, but almost a galactic threat. Like he did. I mean, he was a big enough threat during the Clone Wars that Sidious himself came to take care of him.
mm,
So Sidious saw him as a threat. If Maul had been underground for all that time, like how does Maul get from the end of Solo, where he's the head of uh Crimson Dawn, to where we find him in Rebels? You know, because there's a gap there that we don't know. Is he still in the same position of power in Rebels, but he's just off searching for Sith relics in his free time? Very possible. But,
mm,
then what happens to his position if he dies randomly on a planet and no one that he in no one knows about it?
mm. And just picture this too. If we had, the redo for the sequels. So, picture a New Republic that's getting stronger. It has actual, a military that's actually strong, unlike what we see in the actual sequels. And then we see a character like Thrawn. Use Thrawn. I don't. Maybe not, but a character like Thrawn trying to rebuild the Empire.
Mm.
And to get help, he goes and recruits, or he goes and tries to get the help of all the crime syndicates. So of course he has to go to Maul.
Yeah.
So
Think
having like
about
these,
think about a Luke and Maul duel.
and well, actually, I think the original pitch for that Lucas had come up with was pulling Darth Talon in from Legends and having her
Mm.
be Maul's apprentice.
Who's that other Darth that's like a clone during that time in Legends? You know who I'm
I'm
talking
not
about,
sure.
right? He's from the Clone Wars, is survived or Order 66 Jedi member, and then I think something happens, but he gets cloned, I think. It's been a while since I've
I'm not sure what I'm not sure. That sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
um I'll look into it later. Maybe. Oh,
Okay.
anyways. I'll look into it later. Comment down below if you know, but I'll look into it later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we really need to stop dogging on. We're in our Disney Star Wars couple months here though, because we're talking about Disney Star
Mm-hmm.
Wars. We're talking about The Force
Although
Awakens, and the next month we're talking about Rise of no Last Jedi, and then Rise of Skywalker. So we're talking about Disney Star Wars is current. We're dogging on it because we don't like it. Get over it.
hey, one thing we do need to do is stop talking about Maul right now because he deserves his own episode.
Yes, yes, that will do that. we'll do that. Hey, we could talk about Maul right now and still have plenty to talk about because there's so much to the character of Darth Maul.
Mhm.
He is such a cool character.
Yeah, 'cause,
Yeah.
well, we were really just talking about the end of his life. Like, there's so much with Clone Wars and stuff. And if we pull up the Wikipedia article on Maul, I'm sure there is so much, both canon and legends, to talk
Yes.
about.
Yes. All right.
So maybe we'll do that for the next
Yes.
Wikipedia episode. I don't know what should we call these episodes?
Wookiee cast.
WikiCast.
I don't know.
Because
Um,
if we're gonna make this a thing, we need an episode for this or a name for this series, I guess.
That's true. We'll do some brainstorming. If anyone actually cares to listen this far in the podcast and actually thinks of a name, comment down below. We may or may not use it. But anyways, we'll go from there. But yeah. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about?
Oh well, actually, it's kind of funny you were talking about Doctor Who earlier. Well, oh, and I already mentioned that. Dang. Okay, no, not really.
Did you ever finish what you were talking about with the Doctor Who starting it up, or were you finished with that? Because you moved on to something else, and I wasn't sure if you actually finished what you were talking about.
I don't even know, and I don't remember, so I'm just gonna say I was finished and move on.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, uh, other than that, I mean, everything else is pretty much the same. I'm still playing through Lego Batman, but I haven't completed it yet.
Mm.
You know what I did find, and I'm kind of pissed about this. So when I was playing through one of the levels, I was like, all right, I want to create this character in the character creator, and I had the whole thing planned out. When I got to the character creator, I couldn't build it. You know why? I wanted to use Penguin's umbrella as the
Mhm.
weapon that he carried around. You can only use two different types of guns: a pistol and a machine gun, and the batarang. Those are the only weapons you can use. Now, maybe it's something that if you get farther down the line, you can actually change it, but that's all that I have access to at this moment in time. And I
I
looked
feel like there
into it,
were more. Yeah, I feel like there were more weapons, but I could be wrong.
well, you might be thinking of Lego Batman 2 because I believe in Lego Batman 2, there are more.
Maybe.
Because I'm gonna
Although I didn't
probably
really play Lego Batman 2 that much, but
okay.
I could just be misremembering it. But
Yeah, it was kind of annoying. Now, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, I haven't gotten the thing completely completed, but I'm at like 76%. So there's very little that I haven't completed. So you would think that around this area that I should have things like I have Penguin unlocked. I just wanted to make a better version of him that could do other stuff.
You'd think that like certain items in the character creator, if they were doing the where you unlock stuff, you'd think it would be like you once you unlock this character, you get to use those pieces in the character creator.
Yeah. So I was a little annoyed at that because then I couldn't create the character that I wanted to. And Lego Batman was an amazing game. It is an amazing game. And it was so early on, it's like the third they did Lego Star Wars the complete or Lego Star Wars both those games, then the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga, then they did Indiana Jones, then they made this one. So it wasn't like they had made that many more before this. And like the graphics are amazing on it. The honestly the hub world is really good. The level designs are great, and the character roster is small. It's a good character roster, but it's very small. And it gets kind of annoying because, like, when you're doing free play, which is what I'm doing now because I'm trying to unlock everything, you basically get essentially all the characters because you either get Batgirl or Batman, which does the Bat stuff. You get Robin or Nightwing, which does the Robin stuff, and then you get pretty much the rest of the characters that aren't goons. You know,
Mhm.
you may not get all of them. Like you get one character that can jump high, you get one strong character, and you get like you know, um, the Joker and like either the Mad Hatter or Riddler who could do one of those things.
Mhm.
But it's like there's not that many characters to use. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll go create a character so that I don't, I usually use Mr. Freeze. Sometimes I use Clayface. But like those are my go-to. And I was like, well, let me make a character and then I can have that one, and they can maybe do all these different things. But I didn't have the option to do that. So that just kind of sucks. Because I don't care to make another Batman or another gun person. I don't find that fun. So I'm just gonna stick with the ones I've been using. But I'm a little annoyed at that's not a capability. Lego designers, go back and fix Lego Batman. They basically did when they made Lego Batman 2. Whatever things were shortcomings of Lego Batman. I mean, you can argue with the voice lines, however you want. But aside from that, level design wise and hub world design, I mean, they do a tremendous job in Lego Batman 2.
Yeah. It yeah, those early Lego games I think are still the best though.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, hands down. I like. I think that's one thing that and you were talking about this. I think a couple of weeks ago with like wanting to play through some of the what do they call it, the real tough games,
Oh, Souls games.
Souls games. You were talking about doing that, and like how you kind of liked how the Lego games more recently have gotten to where I mean, they're obviously not hard, but they're not just button mashing like they
More complex combat, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, I feel like they've gotten to the point where they have more complex combat and less complex puzzles. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's what Lego's all about is the puzzles, not the fighting. Like, I don't care that when I go to a boss at the end of a level that I just had the button mash to hit them and then maybe solve a puzzle so that they can come back down and I can hit them again. Like, I don't mind that because
Mhm.
throughout the level there's complex puzzles. Like, obviously I've played through before, so I know what they are. But like sometimes trying to figure out all the mini kits and red bricks, you have to figure some things out. Those things I haven't done all of them before. So I like that aspect of it, like that. And you've talked about Lego Indiana Jones, like that one's real big on puzzles and stuff like that. I like the puzzle design of it because I feel like
Mhm.
that's the point of Lego games as opposed to the combat. Which I'm not saying like the combat's not more interesting, but like in Lego City Undercover, the combat in that is interesting while at the same time having very good puzzles you know. So
Mhm.
I like the balance that they had with that. I feel like that was a tipping point that they kind of just moved more towards a lot of the combat and less of the puzzles. So, my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, David,
I need to find a good game to start. I don't have
you
anything
wanna
that I'm really
you
playing
wanna
right now.
finish one of the you wanna finish one of the ones I'm playing?
I don't know.
I got
I
a
might start. I don't know. We'll see. Because lately I've just been playing Minecraft. So.
Me and Sarah haven't played that in a while.
Mhm.
That's one of the ones that we kind of pick up together.
Yeah. I got you on that realm I have, and that's the main world I've been playing on recently. And I've got a huge city that I'm working on.
Is that the one that was in development? Like the one that's off a ways that you have to get to? That was started?
It's not really off.
Right?
Well, okay. Then again, the way I play Minecraft, like in survival, a couple thousand blocks isn't really a long way for me. So,
Yeah. Um, I think if I'm thinking of the right thing, I played when you first added me to it. I played it for a while. I got
mhm.
on every once in a while.
Yeah,
But
because I
it's
just see you
been
did
a
a lot
while
in that
for me.
village, but
I think so. I don't remember. I'll go back eventually and play it, but it will be a while. I
mm,
like Minecraft. I just don't always have the time it takes to just sit down and do stuff in it.
mhm.
I wish I did. I just don't take the time. But yeah, me and Sarah had a world that we were building on. And we did a decent amount on it. But
I
it's
think
been
I
a long
got on
time.
that one. I think I got on one of those with y'all. I remember
Yes.
one where y'all had a house on top of a mountain.
Yeah, that's the only one that we did.
Okay.
So we got it on the we got it on the Xbox to play together on it,
Split screen.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and that was the only one that we only world that like we just made the one world and we were just building on it. So that the one that
Okay.
you joined was the only one that we had,
Okay.
and we had the 3 beds next to each other, all nice and cuddly.
Uh-huh. And then I went down and went in a cave and built a house in there, which you probably haven't found yet.
Probably not. I had my own things I was doing. Uh, it's been a long time since I've been on that world, so yeah, Minecraft is fun. It's one of those like games that it I think it's pretty similar to. It's just one of those games that's like probably never really gonna go out of style because it's a game that you just create things in. Like that's not a style. That's a mindset. Like people who are creative are gonna like it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, David.
Well, it sounds like we've run out of things to say. We've been recording for an hour and a half, so we should probably end it here.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Before it
I'm
becomes too
hungry.
boring.
Dinner should be ready soon, so I'm ready to go.
Well, I mean, I already made dinner tonight, so had it in the crock pot, so
Oh,
that's nice.
that sucks for you. That's I thought you were saying you already ate it. Well,
No,
we can both look forward to going and eating then, David.
yeah, I haven't eaten yet, but I probably could have before we started, but I didn't.
Well, David, if that's all you have to say, let's head on to an outro.
Explorers, that's about all the time we have for today.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode.
Let us know what you thought in the comments down below, or you can DM us on Instagram at DownTheRabbitTrailYT.
And with that, be sure to join us next week on the Trailcast. I forgot my line again.
See you later.